The majority of men are far more attractive than they realize. Not slightly, but significantly. Problem is simple. You've been taught to measure yourself by explicit feedback that rarely comes. Women almost never tell you what they actually feel. They show it quietly, indirectly, and repeatedly. If you don't know how to read those signs, you spend your life thinking you're average when you're not. Attraction doesn't play out the way Hollywood pretends it does. Forget the idea of women making grand declarations, rushing across the room, or showering you with obvious compliments. Real attraction operates in silence, in patterns too subtle to register unless you know how to look. A glance that lasts a second too long, a laugh that sharpens when you speak. A chair shifted 2 feet closer. The signals are there. Most men just never learn to read them. The mistake begins with comparison. Men measure themselves against celebrities, models, or the most dominant figures in their social circles. Against these inflated standards, they label themselves average. Yet average is not how women see them. A man who carries himself with calm confidence, maintains his body, and speaks with grounded presence is already in a higher category than he believes. Women notice these traits before he notices them in himself. Here's the paradox. The men who are most attractive often underestimate themselves the most. Because their reference point is higher. Because they think attraction must look obvious. And because women rarely make it explicit, instead women operate through deniability. They need space to explore their attraction without risking rejection or judgment. So they send signals sideways, through behavior, not through words. Consider the first indicator, eye contact. Not the polite flicker of recognition, but a gaze that lingers past the social minimum. It lasts only a moment, then breaks. She looks down or past you, as though nothing happened. But if it happens again and again, it isn't an accident. It's attraction, concealed in hesitation. Positioning is another. She doesn't walk up and announce interest. She maneuvers. She drifts into your orbit. She finds reasons to stand near you, to pass by your side, to join the conversation you're in. These aren't coincidences. They are micro decisions that place her within your reach, while giving her the cover of just being there. Orbit patterns are powerful. You'll see her circle the same area, cross your path multiple times, or linger within sight lines. To the untrained eye, it looks random. To the trained eye, it's a quiet gravitational pull. She is creating opportunities while protecting her pride. Group dynamics reveal the same thing. When you speak, conversations pause. People listen more carefully. Bodies turn toward you. This is not because you've said something extraordinary every time. It's because of the halo effect. Attractiveness changes perception. People unconsciously treat attractive individuals as more competent, more intelligent, more worth listening to. You didn't earn it in that moment. You carry it into the moment. Notice how other men react to. Confident men defer. They ask your opinion. They make space for your words. Insecure men copy your style, your tone, even your gestures. Others grow louder, compete harder, or try to dominate when you're present. It wouldn't bother if you weren't a threat. Their behavior's not random. It's a mirror of how the room rates you. Women's bodies echoed the same assessment. Watch for mirroring. You lean back. She leans back. You touch your jaw. Her hand moves to her cheek. You cross your arms. She adjusts to match. It isn't deliberate. It's subconscious synchrony, a signal of alignment. Beyond gestures, there's rhythm. Your speech slows, hers slows. You lift your energy, she lifts hers. Its synchrony is one of the clearest indicators of connection, yet most men dismiss it as coincidence. Understand this. Her brain already scored you before she realized it. Posture, grooming, presence, status quo, processed in seconds. That score shapes everything that follows. It shifts how long she looks at you, how close she stands, how her tone changes in conversation. You think you're reading randomness? You're reading a verdict? And yet here is the irony. Many attractive men don't see it because they've lived with it for so long. Baseline adjustment. Rooms tilting in their favor becomes invisible. Respect, deference, curiosity normal to them. They don't see that others don't get it. They downplay it. They tell themselves, I'm average. When the evidence says otherwise, men will rarely compliment your looks outright. Instead, they'll speak about your presence, You feel different. You're calming. I like your energy. These aren't vague comments. They're precise reflections of deeper attraction. What they can't easily put into words, they frame as something about you. That something is the mix of confidence, composure, and magnetism that they feel but can't neatly define. Memorability seals it. A woman remembers what you said weeks ago. She references it later. She recalls details you barely noticed. She's doing that, it's because her brain filed you as important. Average interactions are forgotten. Attractive men leave cognitive footprints. The signs are everywhere. Eye contact, and proximity, and shifts of group energy, and how men compete and women orbit. Most men walk past these signals because they expect fireworks. But attraction isn't fireworks. It's gravity, invisible, constant, and undeniable once you learn how to read it. Attraction hides in plain sight, but you need to recalibrate how you see it. Too many men assume that if a woman isn't openly flirting, there's no interest. That belief blinds them to the real signals. Women rarely expose themselves to rejection. Instead, they use plausible deniability actions that could be explained away as coincidence, but which repeat often enough to reveal a pattern. Your task is not to overreact to single moments, but to recognize consistency. Think of proximity. One encounter means little. But if she's near you again and again, in different contexts, lingering close in a group, drifting to your side during breaks, finding reasons to cross your path, it's not random. Humans are creatures of pattern. Repetition is never accidental. When she's engineering proximity, she's telling you something without speaking. Watch for the manufactured excuse. She needs to pass by the area where you're standing. She suddenly joins a conversation you're part of. She finds a task that puts her in your space. Each reason on its own is explainable. But when the reasons pile up, the truth becomes obvious. She wants to be in your orbit, even if she won't admit it outright. Social integration works the same way. Women attracted to you will insert themselves into your group dynamics. They'll sit near you without being invited, laugh at jokes you didn't direct at them, or contribute to conversations you're leading. It's not about the content, it's about the connection. She's associating herself with you publicly, testing how you respond and creating a shared presence. And then, there are the micro reactions. Subtle changes when you enter a room, pause in conversation, a quick adjustment in posture, a shift in tone. The atmosphere bends slightly in your direction, even if no one says anything. This is social gravity at work. People feel it instinctively when someone with presence arrives. The attractive man doesn't just join the room, he alters it. Group dynamics amplify this effect. Conversations slow when you begin to speak. Eyes turn. People wait for your input before moving forward. This isn't necessarily about what you said, it's about who you are in their perception. The halo effect makes your words carry more weight. Attractive men become unofficial leaders because people unconsciously defer to those they perceive as high value. Other men confirm this indirectly. Confident men defer rather than compete. Will seek your input, align with your opinions, or echo your suggestions. Insecure men, on the other hand, reveal themselves through imitation or escalation. Will copy your clothing style, adopt your mannerisms, or try to outshine you in conversation. If they didn't see you as a standard, they wouldn't bother. Pay attention to exclusion as well. When men feel threatened, they sometimes attempt to minimize your presence by dismissing your contributions, talking over you, or steering the conversation away from you. These are defensive maneuvers. They're acknowledging your social weight by trying to counterbalance it. Ironically, their attempts to diminish you prove exactly how they perceive your value. Women display their version of this competition differently. They may become territorial. They monopolize your attention in group settings, position themselves between you and others, or show subtle signs of jealousy when you interact with different women. They might interrupt more, lean closer, or create inside jokes that mark their claim. These behaviors signal that you're valuable enough to protect even if they don't state it aloud. Verbal cues, when they come, are rarely straightforward compliments. Women don't usually say, "You're handsome." Instead, they comment on your aura. "You seem different." There's something about the way you carry yourself. You have a presence. These statements reflect attraction that transcends physical appearance. They're struggling to name the mix of qualities: confidence, composure, magnetism that make you stand out. Some will express this in terms of memorability, if you stick in their mind. They recall your stories, reference your words weeks later, or bring up details you'd forgotten. This is powerful. Average interactions fade quickly. If she remembers, it's because you left an imprint. The human brain only saves what feels significant. Being remembered is one of the clearest indicators of genuine appeal. These signs also extend into environments you don't always notice. Professional settings amplify certain qualities. In meetings, your contributions get more attention. Colleagues seek your approval. Women may position themselves closer during discussions. Ask for your insights more frequently, or align themselves with your perspective. Here, attractiveness compounds with competence, multiplying your perceived value. Social settings reveal different signals. At parties or casual gatherings, women are freer to show proximity, playfulness, and lingering eye contact. The atmosphere gives them cover to express attraction in ways they might suppress in more formal contexts. Pay attention to how the energy shifts when you join groups. If conversations become livelier, laughter sharper, or people lean in, that's not coincidence, it's reaction. Activity-based environments showcase other layers. At the gym, physical discipline speaks louder. Intellectual spaces, articulation, and insight become magnets. In leadership contexts, composure under pressure signals strength. Each environment reveals different aspects of attractiveness. But the underlying truth is the same. Women respond to how you show up, not just how you look. Demographics shape these responses too. Younger women may prioritize visible dominance, style, or social energy. Older women may find confidence, stability, and emotional intelligence far more compelling. Cultural context also matters. In some circles, subtlety is everything. In others, more overt signals appear. Knowing where you have the strongest impact helps you understand your real value. Age adds another layer. Many men grow more attractive with time, not less. Experience creates depth. Career stability signals competence. Emotional maturity replaces impulsive immaturity. Women who have lived through chaotic relationships begin to prize composure and consistency. Men who stay physically fit into their 30s, 40s, and beyond stand out dramatically against peers who have let themselves go. Self-maintenance becomes a competitive advantage that compounds over time. Financial stability and career progress add their own gravitational pull. It's not money itself, it's what it represents. Discipline, competence, long-term thinking. These qualities radiate through posture, speech, and decisions. They become part of your presence. And women notice, even if they can't articulate why you feel different from others. Life experience sharpens conversational depth. Men who've navigated failures, overcome obstacles, and built resilience carry it in their tone. They speak with gravitas, with calm that can't be faked. This authenticity is magnetic because it signals reliability in a world full of instability. Women respond to that deeply, often more than to surface-level charm. Social networks reflect and reinforce this. Men with established high-quality circles radiate status indirectly. Invitations, connections, and shared activities all serve as signals of value. When you're consistently included in elevated environments, women notice. The company you keep multiplies your perceived worth. All these indicators add up to a truth most men never grasp. Attractiveness is not about a single feature, a perfect jawline, or a magic trait. It's about how your presence alters the environment. It's the ripple you create in conversations, the space you command without asking. It's the way others shift unconsciously when you enter the room. That is the measure of your appeal, and it's far higher than you probably think. The final and perhaps most overlooked element of male attractiveness is awareness itself. Most men never realize the impact they have because they've been trained to look for the wrong signals. They expect fireworks. What actually happens is far quieter, but no less powerful. When you begin to notice, when you start to connect the dots between subtle behaviors and the reality behind them, your perspective changes completely. This shift isn't about ego, it's about accuracy. For years, you may have dismissed repeated glances as coincidence, downplayed women's attempts at proximity, or ignored the competitive energy from other men. You told yourself it didn't matter. You convinced yourself it meant nothing. But when you zoom out, you see the pattern. The room reacts to you, people adjust to you, women orbit you, and you've been blind to it. Psychologists describe this as baseline adjustment. If you grow accustomed to being treated with respect, interest, or deference, you stop noticing. It feels normal. What you forget is that normal for you might be exceptional compared to most men. That's why attractive men so often underestimate themselves. They live in an environment that constantly affirms their value. But because it's consistent, they stop registering it as significant. The opposite also happens. Men who rarely experience genuine attraction signals can overinflate their importance when it does happen, mistaking rare coincidence for deep meaning. That's why clarity requires patterns, not isolated incidents. One glance can be dismissed, but repeated, consistent cross-context signals cannot. Here's where humility and confidence intersect. Accurate self-awareness doesn't mean arrogance. It doesn't mean assuming every woman wants you or every man fears you. It means aligning your perception with reality. If multiple women consistently show subtle interest, acknowledge it. If men frequently defer to you, recognize it. If conversations shift when you speak, own it. This isn't self-delusion, simply removing the blindfold. The danger is slipping into one of two extremes: false modesty or inflated ego. False modesty prevents you from seizing opportunities. You tell yourself you're average when you're not. You downplay your presence, undervalue your worth, and miss connections that were within reach. Inflated ego, on the other hand, destroys what makes you attractive in the first place. Confidence becomes arrogance, presence becomes performance, and instead of drawing people in, you push them away. The balance comes from authenticity. Real confidence doesn't need to prove itself. It doesn't need to dominate, perform, or exaggerate. It simply exists. Women are extraordinarily good at detecting the difference between genuine confidence and artificial bravado. One draws them in, the other repels them. When you ground yourself in accurate self-awareness, your confidence naturally feels authentic, because it is. Recognition of your attractiveness should serve as fuel for growth, not as an excuse for complacency. Attractiveness isn't static, it compounds or decays. The men who remain magnetic into their 30s, 40s, and beyond are the ones who continue to sharpen themselves physically, intellectually, socially. Stagnation dulls even the strongest natural appeal. Continuous development, on the other hand, multiplies it. This growth doesn't just mean lifting weights or earning more money. It means deepening conversation skills, expanding knowledge, maintaining curiosity, and cultivating resilience. It means surrounding yourself with people who challenge rather than limit you. It means building environments where your natural qualities can shine. Women are drawn not just to the man himself, but to the trajectory he represents. Growth is magnetic, decline is not. Another overlooked factor is how you treat others. Physical presence and confidence may spark attraction, but emotional generosity sustains it. The ability to make people feel seen, heard, and valued multiplies your appeal far beyond the surface. Women might notice your looks first, but what keeps you unforgettable is how you made them feel in your presence. Attractive men who combine presence with genuine empathy become irresistible to high-quality women. This doesn't mean over-investing emotionally or performing kindness for approval. It means operating from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. When you know your value, you don't need validation from every interaction. You can give freely without losing anything. That quiet self-assurance combined with generosity is what creates depth. And depth is what transforms attraction from curiosity into genuine desire. Ultimately, the goal is accurate calibration. You stop undervaluing yourself. You stop overcompensating. You recognize your actual impact and act accordingly. That's when your choices improve. You stop chasing relationships where your value isn't recognized. You stop settling for environments that dull your presence. Instead, you position yourself where your natural advantages matter most. You move with intention, not insecurity. Think of it as shifting from guesswork to clarity. Most men operate blind, stumbling through social situations, unsure of where they stand. When you understand the signals, you're no longer guessing. You're reading the map correctly. The clarity alone changes everything: your posture, your tone, your decisions. Women feel it. Other men recognize it. And you begin to live aligned with the reality you've been ignoring. This alignment doesn't just improve dating, it improves life. The confidence built from accurate self-awareness translates into business negotiations, leadership roles, friendships, and personal development. People follow those who project certainty, and nothing creates certainty like knowing your own value. That's why the most magnetic men aren't the loudest in the room. They're the most grounded. They radiate quiet confidence because they see themselves clearly. So here's the brutal truth to carry with you. You're almost certainly more attractive than you think. You've been measuring yourself against false standards, missing signals that have surrounded you all along. But once you recognize them, you can't unsee them. You begin to realize how many opportunities you've overlooked, how many doors were open that you never walked through. Now on, start observing. Watch how women position themselves. Notice the pauses in group dynamics. Pay attention to the competitive responses of other men. Track the patterns that repeat across different contexts, and when you see them, don't dismiss them. Acknowledge them. Let them inform your sense of self. Let them fuel the confidence you've earned. Because when you know your value, everything shifts. It's the way you walk into rooms, the way you speak, the women you choose, standards you set. Life stops being about proving yourself and starts being about expressing yourself. And that shift from insecurity to clarity is the foundation of lasting confidence, success, and attraction. If these insights have changed how you see yourself, take a moment to subscribe. This channel is about decoding the hidden psychology behind attraction and relationships, so you can stop guessing and start seeing reality clearly. Your support keeps these conversations alive and helps other men discover the truth about themselves before it's too late. Until next time, remember this. Attraction is not about who you wish you were. It's about recognizing who you already are and owning it fully. The world has been responding to you all along. Now it's time to notice.